woman doesn't believe me, so why would anyone else believe my story?
About 1 in 5 women are victims of some kind of sexual assault in college. This according to the Department of Justice. It is a staggering number that looms over students and administrators in colleges across the country.
We wanted to know how this compares to sexual assault reports at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, and we turned to WBIR 10 News reporter Stephanie Haynes.
Robin and John, you'll hear from a campus sexual assault survivor in this story. She was not a UT student. She went to a school in Kentucky, and she absolutely believes that 1 in 5 statistic because she says so many sexual assault survivors do not report. And in fact, she didn't either. Here's why.
So when I was 18 years old, freshman in college, I was raped by someone that I thought was my friend.
It was 2010. Emily Kessinger was in her first semester at a Kentucky school when she and her friends went out for the night, a night she didn't know would change her life.
I just remember for several months, not really knowing how to process what happened.
At the beginning of the second semester, she found out she had a class with him. She says she told her advisor about what happened, but said that was not helpful.
And after I told my academic advisor and I was told that no one would believe me, that was very hard for me because then I was like, how do I tell anyone else? This woman doesn't believe me, so why would anyone else?
So she kept it to herself, not telling another soul for years. She says she spiraled into depression. She turned to alcohol and drugs. Her grades tanked and she transferred schools. She even attempted suicide.
I was so empty. I hated myself. I hated my body. It almost wasn't like it belonged to me anymore.
Kessinger's story is more common than most of us realize. According to a 2016 Department of Justice study, 1 in 5 undergraduate female students said they experienced some form of sexual assault. A second study says just 1 in 5 of those assaulted will report to police. If we assume those numbers apply to UT Knoxville's campus, that would mean about 2,200 women assaulted and about 440 reporting. But a 2018 campus survey indicates lower numbers. The My Campus survey polled more than 4,700 students about their campus environment. 153 of those students said they've experienced unwanted sexual contact while a member of the UT community. But the vast majority of those victims, almost 89%, said they did not report.
Our reports still don't match that prevalence rate, and so our goal long term is to drive down the prevalence rate.
This is UT Title IX coordinator Ashley Blamey. Her office is in charge of protecting students against gender-based issues that may impact their education. That includes sexual assault.
We want the opportunity to support them, and while we don't want this to happen to anyone, if it does, we want to know.
Blamey says the data collection about sexual assault varies among different groups. Her focus is on the information and the students at UT.
Even if you look at a 2% prevalence rate, you're still looking at a number of individuals in your community.
Kessinger says to her, the differences in numbers from study to study is simple. Victims don't report.
There's so many people that are afraid to go through the process.
Kessinger didn't report her rape. She didn't go to police nor to her Title IX coordinator. She said she didn't even know those were options.
So I had a really hard time as an 18-year-old, new in college, being out on my own, really understanding what someone did to me. I cared about this person. I had very little knowledge of what going through the process of reporting, finding my Title IX coordinator, even taking it to the police. That wasn't something that I was aware of.
If she had known, she says, she believes she absolutely would have done so. And now she's making sure students like her know their options. Today, Kessinger works for the Tennessee Coalition to end domestic and sexual violence.
I really think what happened to me led me to this point. I took something so painful and so dark, and now I can help people that are similar to me. So that's a very I guess just it fuels me every day to be able to hopefully prevent what happened to me from happening to someone else.
A big part of Kessinger's story is how she got help from the school she transferred to, which is the University of Kentucky. And on our website, you can find a link to the education, help, and resources available at UT. Tomorrow on the Night Beat, the recent increase in sexual assault reports at UT and why administrators believe those numbers will continue to go up. Robin and John.
Stephanie Haynes on the story.